Final Fantasy XIV History Lessons, Heavensward Era by Larryzaur. The last one was very educational. We learnt a lot. So today, it's Larryzaur Heavensward Era. So let's watch and learn. I'm going to watch this. Let's have a go. Hopefully it's buffered now.
Hello there. My name is Larry, and I'm going to teach you all about the history of Final
Is it loud enough? Is it good? Let's turn it up a little bit.
Fantasy XIV.
Let's turn it up a little bit more. Okay, that's max volume.
Hello there. My name is Larry, and I'm going to teach you all about the history of Final Fantasy XIV again. So you guys know about the Rising event going on right now. They do this every year to celebrate the anniversary of Final Fantasy XIV. And actually, this person right here is Minfilia. Yeah, that's 1.0 Minfilia. Yeah, now she doesn't even talk. Yeah. She just sells us wine now. Thanks, Minfilia. And my favorite version of this event, they had us go onto the floor of the Square Enix office that was the development room for Final Fantasy XIV. So Yoshi P was there. All of the developers had their characters there in this like fictional floor of the Square Enix building. And yeah, they would all talk to us and tell us about the jobs that they do at the Square Enix office. And actually, that's where they teased Red Mage and Blue Mage at the time, because neither of those were in the game yet.
Hold on, was that a Rising event like the one we did where we learnt about yeah, was that a Rising event? That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. Those events seem really good.
You know this place, right? Idyllshire? Yeah, it didn't always look like this. This was the endgame zone back in Heavensward, and this was where everybody would hang out, and they would show off all their cool gear. Throughout all the patches in Heavensward, they slowly built this place up. Like, this was not a building. This used to be just tents out here.
I'd love to see Idyllshire in its prime.
No ceiling. There was no rooms like this. This is all new. And good thing that I'm a genius, because I recorded some of this footage back in the day to see what the changes would be like. There was this really popular one, the hanging guy. During construction, there was this construction worker that would be hanging around somewhere for his dear life, and they would change where he was every patch, right? Until eventually when the construction was completed and they finally gave him a rest. Aww, and here he is.
That's cute.
This is him. That's the hanging guy. This video is sponsored by World Flipper. Link in the description below. Flip your way into exciting and mysterious worlds, teaming up with brave and exotic heroes to fight the forces of evil together. An epic pinball adventure awaits. That's right, World Flipper is a pinball action game with RPG elements for mobile, featuring retro 2D style pixel graphics. Players choose a character aligned with one of 6 elements, and each of them has special skills. The gameplay is super unique, as it takes all the fun, reaction-based precision of pinball and combines it with various RPG mechanics. You can play with up to 2 of your friends in co-op and take down powerful raid bosses together. And it was actually published by Decau Games and developed by Psy Games. So if World Flipper looks interesting to you, go pre-register in the link in the description below. And you'll receive in-game rewards, including the powerful 4-star unit Arisa and the in-game currency Lodestar beads. And now back to the video. One of the things that I missed the most in Final Fantasy XIV.
If anyone wants some pinball, there you go. I don't remember what it was, but go get your very colourful anime pinball.
Are some of the really cool skills that we used to have. For instance, Bard had this AoE called Rain of Death, and it just looked really cool. You would do a backflip and rain arrows from above. And
why is that gone?
And Dragoons. Awesome. Oh man, they had a pole dance. It was great. What a good AoE. That's the one that everybody misses and is always asking for to come back.
I want this.
Now we just have these guys.
Hold on, how'd you get poles in your house? How'd you get those poles in your house? How'd you get those like pole dancers in your house? Or is that somewhere else? How do I get that? Don't worry, it's not a house. Oh, okay.
It's just not the same. Don't even get me started on Shadow Flare. I still keep it on my bar to remember it. Can I talk about glitches? Is that okay? In the beginning of Stormblood, when summoners first got Bahamut, we figured out a way to keep Bahamut out forever. But yet, naturally, I decided to make a music video about it. It's very good. One of my best things I've ever made. There was also this really good glitch where you could spin with your monkey. Very Merry made this video. It's a work of art. Can I talk about Diadem? Diadem. This content does not exist in the game anymore. This is actually one of the rare cases in Final Fantasy XIV history where there's content that you cannot play. Well, besides
Hold on, there was fates. There was fates in Diadem. What? What did you get from the fates?
Besides 1.0. This was introduced in Heavensward and was one of the first like exploration style contents where they wanted you to fly around these different floating islands and farm things to get materials. Like it would drop random gear. It was pink gear and the stats on them were randomized. So you could get like a chest piece with like 5 stats maxed out, like crit, direct hit. Well, direct hit didn't exist.
I was like loot boxes.
Crit, determination, spell speed, all maxed out. But what it escalated to was everybody would just sit around on what we called Dino Island, and we would just kill dinosaurs for hours on end until Littlefoot's mom appeared, and then we would kill Littlefoot's mom. Or rather, Littlefoot's mom would kill us with a meteor attack. But eventually we might get her down. And then they introduced this like crazy huge man raid on it. And it was rare for it to spawn in the first place. Like I only did it twice and I only was able to beat it the one time. But this thing would drop one weapon. One person out of the entire 120 whatever it was instance would get it, and it had random stats, and it was better than the raid weapon. So everybody at the time was screaming bloody murder that this was gonna ruin Final Fantasy XIV, the game would be irreparable, and everybody would quit the game. Obviously it turned out fine and nobody cared. Do you even know what this weapon was? No, you probably don't. Have you ever even seen one? No, because it didn't matter. But yeah, that was a fun time.
Does anybody have that weapon? Does anybody have it? Because I find those really bad. Like there's those they're in WoW. There's like world bosses in WoW, and they'll drop like better weapons than anything you can get. And somebody can be raiding at the highest tier for weeks and not get what they want, and then somebody can go just land one hit on a world boss and get like a top star weapon, and it's so annoying. I'd love to see one if they're still around. So many people got angry. Yeah, it's very divisive, I guess, something like that. Like it's cool, like it's a cool idea. 120 people go in and there's a chance to get like an amazing weapon, but
actually really like.
You sold the full gear.
But then again, I like the really grindy stuff in MMOs, so I have something wrong with me. I'm gonna talk about some class stuff now. Back in Heavensward, Bard and Machinist were casters. Yeah, they would go into a special DPS mode where they did more damage if they casted their spells. I mean, casted their arrows and gunshots. What? Some people liked it. Those people need some help. And I talked about the cross-class system.
Nah. What do you guys think of that? Because for me, I don't like casters. I've not enjoyed any of the casters yet. I've not enjoyed any of the casters, but the one class I really do like is Machinist, because they don't have cast bars. I really like Machinist. Bow Mage was the reason I stopped playing Bard to stand still. Really, even Red Mage. I prefer something like Machinist. I really like them. Gun Mage was fine. Bow Mage was okay. Also some, yeah. Your summoner job is crying. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I put it off for so long. A summoner's pretty good, though. You don't have to stop moving, yeah. It's the standing still thing that I struggle with. Like, standing still when a boss is like a boss puts something under you and you're like 3/4 of the way through a cast. And it's just like, oh, guess I'm not getting any damage in, or I die. That's what I struggle with. Machinist is built around the cast and Bard does not. Oh, really? Red Mage and Bard main. So, yeah, some people do like it then. Space Laser. I've not seen a Space Laser. Yeah. Summoner's got some pretty instacast. Adapt, yeah. Has no one taught Marty sidecasting? No, they have not. Cast times are physically better. Yeah, I can imagine. Slide casting.
Them in the last video, but honestly there's some really interesting things to go on about that. Like with Warrior, right now they have Nascent Flash, which is an ability to heal themselves for damage that they do, but they didn't always have this.
Janet taught you. Is that just the thing where you leave when it's about to finish? I didn't know what it was called. Is that just where you leave, you move when you've nearly finished casting? Okay, I didn't know what it was called. I thought it was just like cancel casting or something. I don't know, it was called slide casting. The bodies of healers were like, oh, it's 80% full, you can move and it'll still go off. Oh, okay. Slide casting. Oh. Oh, I thought it was called like cancel cast, or I don't even know how to name. Okay, slide cast it. Very cool. Is that on all casters then?
This, and it's still locked behind level 76. Yeah. Well, back in A Realm Reborn, Warrior had Bloodbath. Warriors loved this. It was their bread and butter and would basically sustain them in all dungeon pulls. They wouldn't need a healer. But in Stormblood, they removed it, and Warriors were very sad about that.
Sad Warriors.
Because now they needed a healer to heal them, and that was just no good. Something really funny with the cross-class system. When you took off your job stone, and you just became, instead of like the job, the class, you could cross-class even more things. Oh, I actually have some right here. Bloodbath, Foresight.
Don't get kicked out of the gate. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for the warning. Thank you for the warning.
This was a tank cooldown, yeah, on my Black Mage. Flash. Flash was Paladin's AoE, like, aggro getter. But yeah, I could also get Provoke. You could go into a 24-man raid on a Black Mage or Thaumaturge, and you could just provoke the boss. There it is! Ring of Thorns! I still have it on my bar! I'm on Old Summoner, and there's Provoke. And there's Raging Strikes and Blood for Blood.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
And back in the day, with healers, when you would zone into a dungeon, everybody would stand...
I don't know. We touched on this in the last one. What do you think about the whole, like, having multiple classes built in, like having to get to like having to level 2 classes to unlock 1? What do you think of that? I kind of like that. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's quite a cool idea, but I guess it's not that feasible. Yeah, Pollet. Yeah, I'm interested because I think it's a really cool idea. So it's like if you want to, wasn't it like if you want to get, what did he say in his last video? If you wanted to get, was it like Provoke on a warrior, you had to level a paladin. It was something like that. I think that's really cool. So it's like a reward for leveling another class. You get your other class better. Kind of like Heavensward, where you actually had 2. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know where you mean. Bit of variety in each class, but see where they moved it. Yeah, it's more friendly now, 100%. Yeah. Yo, Sizzlin, hello. Became harder to establish. Yeah, true. Still trying to cast Protect, really? Yeah, it's pretty full, isn't it, mate? It's pretty full. Rigged poll. Well, here we go. What's he put? Oh, mate. What is wrong with my mod? We need an intervention for my mod. He's got some issues, hasn't he? He's got some problems. He's got some, yeah. Instantly rolled my eyes. Yeah, he's gone too far. Yeah. Nice in theory if you're on level. Yeah, I guess if you wanna, like, I guess if you'd leveled, for example, if I've leveled a paladin to 60, the thought of having to go back and level a warrior is kind of a ball ache, but it's a cool idea. Yeah. Interview for new mods and send. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Okay, let's finish the video. Okay,
why? Well, because you needed to cast Protect on them, of course. I still have it on my bar. It's right here. And then in a raid, you would cast Stone Skin on everybody. This was like a shield. And then if you had a Scholar in your group, you would make them cross-class Stone Skin so that they could help you put Protect on everybody.
One
of the biggest changes to tanks over the years was Tank Stance. Tank Stance used to reduce your damage taken and reduce your damage that you dealt. So Paladin had Shield Oath, and then they also had Sword Oath, and Sword Oath was their damage stance. But because Tank Stance would reduce your damage by 20%, it became standard where a raid group would just have their tanks never in Tank Stance. Because we couldn't lose 20% damage to that. We had DPS checks to make, man. They would use melee accessories, so they would go steal the Dragoon's accessories and put them on instead because they had strength. And
that's interesting. I don't know, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just hearing about them as well. Like what? Yeah, pretty much. DPS stance was a nightmare. Yeah, it sounds a little strange. I think from my experience, tank stance in Final Fantasy is like easy mode compared to WoW. I think tanking in a WoW is a lot harder. Like how you generate enmity, what's called threat in WoW, and how easy it is for other people to pull you off. Pull the boss off of you is a lot harder in Final Fantasy. Yeah. Tank used to be harder. Tank, yeah. Oh, the real poly is up now. That's good. Used to be hard for Shadowbringers. Yeah. Changed enmity to make it easier. Yeah. It does seem really easy compared to WoW. Like when someone said to me, "Yeah, you just put tank stance on and just pull everything," I was like, "What? Really? Is that it?" But I mean, obviously, tanking's harder in like raids and stuff. What's Sizzling? No, it's not like that. In Stormblood, red mages could rip threat off. Oh, really? Yeah, that's what it's like in WoW. Like you literally, if you're a DPS in WoW, you have to not do too much damage. So you have add-ons and you track how much damage you're doing to make sure you don't take too much damage and take all the threat. And there's not much the tank can do to get it back. Yeah, but I like it. I mean, if tanking, there's a reason why in WoW it's so hard to find a tank, because it's not fun to play, in my opinion. But in Final Fantasy, I think it's quite easy. It's quite easy for new people to get into it. It's the enemy of the party, same screen. Yeah, that's true, Farrell. What's classed as the easiest role to play for raids? I'm not sure. I'd say DPS is always the easiest. Poll broke on the mobile. Let's just blame Spoople. You got the chair again. There we go. Cheers, mate. Cheers.
A tank that was doing this, never in tank stance and strength accessories, would do about as much damage as another DPS. But yeah, we don't do that anymore. This was a fun one. Astrologian's cards used to be completely different.
I've heard about this. By different,
I mean, each one of them was different. Balance was actually the only one that would be a damage buff. Everything else did different stuff, like a crit buff or a speed buff. And it was actually really fun to just give a melee the speed buff, because like a monk is already fast, right? So you give them the speed buff to go even faster, cool. And then they would just run out of TP. They would just go so fast that they would run out of resource and they can't attack anymore. So then the Astrologian would extend the speed buff on them. And that's why Astrologian's pose looks like this, and they look all smug.
I think Astrologian sounded really cool. Like when I've only tried it once, and it seems a bit like you just give people damage buffs. Not for me. I think it sounded cool, like how it used to be. I miss more closely when you try other people. Yeah, Tama, I get that. Astrologian. Yeah. Bring back the RNG cards. Yeah, I wish I'd have seen it. Old cards were so much fun. Yeah, most people that talk about Astrologian say it was more fun. But they're changing them for Endwalker, right?
Dungeons used to reward tomes differently than they do now. What they used to do...
Sorry. What used to reward tomes differently?
And that's why Astrologian's pose looks like this, and they look all smug. Dungeons used to reward tomes differently than they do now. What they used to do was reward the tomes for each boss. But you know what people did? They would run this dungeon, specifically Brayflox's hard mode.
Just kill the first boss.
They would do the big pull all the way to the boss. They would lock all the mobs out of the boss arena. And then they would kill the boss and then leave. They wouldn't do the rest of the dungeon. Because that was more time efficient than just doing the full dungeon for the tomes. So Square Enix didn't like that. And so they made it so all the endgame tomes have to come from the last boss instead.
Players always break the game, don't they? Players always break the game. People complain. No, it sounds simpler. It sounds simpler now. I can't really comment. I've not really played either. It was a miserable healer to heal on, really. Definitely not that much harder for people. I think it is now. It's simpler. Oh, really? Brave Flux non-stop, yeah.
But yeah, this dungeon is what we did all the time for relic farming back in Realm Reborn. And actually, dungeons, we used to get 3 of them per patch. You know, they changed this because we've gotten all different types of content now, but they used to do 3 dungeons every single patch. That's why the list of a Realm Reborn dungeon.
That's why there's like 1,000 dungeons in ARR and then like 10 in Heavensward. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Start adding walls to dungeons. Yeah, I get that. You can only pull up to like a thing and then you have to open a door. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I think 3 dungeons a patch is kind of heavy. To put it into perspective, in World of Warcraft, you get it'll release with, so like if you look at the last expansion, it released with like, I'm gonna pick a figure out of my head, 6 dungeons, and then I think we got like 1 or 2 throughout the whole 2 years. 1, 2, 3 maybe? I can't remember. 8 dungeons total. Or did it release with 8? I felt like I was doing the same dungeons for 2 years. We got a lot of raids. How did WoW retain players ever? Nostalgia. Released with 8. How many did you get over the 2 years? I can't remember. I can remember Mechagon. 4 leveling and 4 for 60. Yeah. I can't remember how many you got over the patches. I only remember Mechagon off the top of my head. Who knows? Anyway.
Dungeons is so long. Look at it compared to Heavensward, they went down to 2 dungeons per patch. Stormblood, they went down to 2 or 1 dungeons per patch. And now this expansion, they've only done 1 dungeon per patch. And that is not a bad thing. It's because we get different types of content than just dungeons. Oh yeah, and in Dunscaith, you know this Proto-Ultima boss? This guy was not always there. When Dunscaith first came out, that was not there. It was actually a succubus boss. Anyway, I mean, there's still so much more I could talk about the history, but these are just some other ones I thought up in my head. But that'll be it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.
Larry. Thank you for another history lesson. I look forward to these videos now. These are very cool. It's like I feel like I'm at school, and I have my lecture every I go to it once a week. Yeah, please release. I suppose if he releases a Stormblood one, we need to get through Stormblood first. Maybe his next video will have to wait. Yeah, I really like these history lessons. I'm a big fan. As someone who wasn't around, it's nice to see how things have changed, and I can kind of compare it to how WoW has changed over the years, and you see a lot of similarities in here. Yeah, I really like these videos. Big fan. Come on, jump. Yeah, that makes sense. If you didn't do Dungeons Rage, you missed out on the story. You took a break, you missed the story. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, I've got the chair again. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. So that was a really good video. Highly recommend that video. It's already linked in the Discord because people were sharing it earlier. Highly recommend. Go drop Larry all the likes, all the subscribies. Show him all the love. He's a top tier creator. He's one of my favorite Final Fantasy video people. Him and Joe Cat are probably my favorite people to watch.